type, and then we'll look at some special cases. So let's find the equation in standard form. And let's see, you're given the point 5, 8, and 1, 3. Okay, so you don't know which flowchart to use. Given this, it says find the equation in standard form, and you are given 2 points. So when you have 2 points, you need to use a flowchart that is set up for 2 points. So that's going to be your second page. So this is the one you're going to be looking at. And you just follow it down the way it's written. We want to find the equation of a line when you're given 2 points. So we've got our 2 points. So this is the second page. And so what does it say to do? It says find the slope first. Just follow it down. You won't have any trouble with these. Take your time with the signs. So 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2. Slope is, that's the first thing we're going to find. So find the slope. And your slope m is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Fill it in. And that's 8 minus 3 over 5 minus 1. 8 minus 3 is going to give you a 5. 5 minus 1 is a 4. So that's my slope. So is everyone okay with that? So we use the second page. Why do we use the second page? Because we have 2 points. So 2 points. First things first, find that slope. Then, once you got the slope, in all of these flowcharts, you then use the point slope. So we're now going to use point slope, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we're going to use that with a slope of 5/4. And that 0.58. Again, x1, y1, fill it in. So y minus 8 equals 5/4 times x minus 5. No double negatives to worry about. So we can just go ahead and distribute through. And distributing through, that gives you 5/4 x minus. Now, if you have trouble with these fractions, you can always write them over to the side. So if it makes it easier, just write that 5/4 over the side. And we're going to be multiplying it by minus 5 over 1. And that makes it then a minus 25 over 4. Now, what are we going to do from here? Well, we need to get it in standard form. And so we cannot have fractions in standard form. So we're going to go ahead and multiply everything by a 4. That leaves you then with 4y minus 4 times 8 is going to be that 32. That equals then 5x minus 25. Add your 32 to each side. And we now have, well, and we got to remember, add that 5, subtract that 5x over as well. We can do it all in one step, so move that 5x over. So then we've got, sorry about that, minus 5x, we move that over, plus your 4y equals 25 that's negative plus 32, that should be a 7. It's going to be a positive 7. Now, is that in standard form? It's not completely in standard form. Why not? It's not in standard form. Right? Yep. Right, because that's negative. So it's not in standard form because of the negative 5. So how do we handle that? Well, we take it and we multiply it all by a negative 1. That's going to change all of your signs out. So it's not in standard form. So multiply it all by a negative. And that switches all the signs around. And that gives you then 5x minus 4y equals minus 7. And it is now in standard form. How do we know that it's in standard form? No fractions, no decimals. X and the y are on the left-hand side. The x component is positive. So it's done. It is now in standard form. Let's try another one. So this one we're going to do in slope-intercept form. And let's say you're given m equals negative 9/8 and the point minus 1 minus 3. Okay, so this one's actually a little bit easier. We've got 3 choices on these flowcharts. The first page is when you have a point and a slope. The second page is 2 points. And the third page is a point and a line equation. So what do we have here? We have a point and we have a slope, don't we? So now we can use the first flowchart. And what does it say for the first flowchart? It says, find the equation of a line when you're given a point and a slope. You're going to use that point-slope formula. So let's go ahead and do that. So that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. x1, y1. So this one's a little bit easier. Filling it in. Watch out for double negatives. I picked this one because of all the negatives. We made it on purpose with a lot of negatives, just so we'd be careful with those. So we've got y minus a minus 3 equals minus 9/8 times x minus a minus 1. So be sure and take your time here. Students miss these a lot. It's all because of sign errors or arithmetic. So the double negatives, watch those. The double negatives are going to make it positive here and positive here. We're going to distribute that negative 9/8 through. When I distribute it through and change my signs, I've got y plus 3 equals now minus 9/8 x minus 9/8. We want this in slope-intercept form. I like to always clear the fractions, so we'll multiply everything by an 8. And now we have 8y plus 24 equals minus 9x minus 9. Moving things around, I'm going to move that 24 over. So now we've got 8y equals a negative 9x, and 24 and 9 both are negative. That should be a 33, negative 33, but let's double check and make sure. Negative 33 here. Divide by your 8, and we are now done. So then in slope-intercept form, my answer would be y equals negative 9/8x minus 33 over 8. The next one that we're going to look at is going to be a little bit of a challenge because it has a lot of fractions. And this is going to be very, very similar to question 12 in your homework. So this is going to be very, very similar to question 12 in your homework, just different numbers in these fractions. So we're going to try and write the equation in standard form. And you're going to be given ordered pairs that contain fractions. And let's say 2/9, comma, minus let's say minus 4/9. Okay, so there's only one of these in your homework, and this is not something you would see on your exam. So you're not going to have anything that's difficult on your exam. I am giving it to you as a homework question. So question 12 is very, very similar. Right? If you look at question 12, you see that it's different fractions. That's it. We've got 4 and 3. We've got 2 and 9. So first thing we need to do, identify what we've got. What do we have? 2 points. So we're going to have to use our formula for the slope. So we're going to find the slope. And that's m equals y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. This is x1, y1, x2, and y2. Now, it looks more difficult than what it actually is. We're going to plug our fractions into our slope formula, and we're going to clear them all out. Okay, so we're going to plug them in first, and then we'll clear them out by using a common denominator. So let's go ahead and plug our values in. We have minus 1/2 minus a minus 4/9 divided by down below 3/2 minus 2/9. Okay. So we're going to clear out our fractions. Now, before we do that, though, this double negative here makes it positive. And what's the least common denominator of 9 and 2? That would be 18, wouldn't it? Okay, so we're going to multiply everything by 18. And that is going to remove all of our fractions. So everything gets multiplied by 18. And then the fractions will be gone. So multiply every component by 18. So let's see what we've got. 18 for our first one, divided by 2. Well, 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 times a negative 1 makes it negative 9. 18 divided by 9, that's 2. Okay, 18 divided by 9 is 2. 2, and this is positive. 2 times 4 is 8. That's gone there. Down below. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 2 times that negative 2 makes it a negative 4, doesn't it? Now let's see what we have left. So minus 9 plus 8, that's a minus 1. And 27 minus 4 should be a 23. Is everyone okay with how I'm getting these numbers here? So divide, multiply. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 times negative 1 is negative 9. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. It's positive, so that came down there. 18 divided by 2 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 18 divided by 9 is 2. Times a negative 2 makes it a negative 4. Minus 9 plus 8 is minus 1. 27 minus 4 is 23. So that is my slope. We are not done yet, though. So we have found the slope. Now we have to use point slope. And we're going to use point slope with m equals a minus 1 over 23. And that first ordered pair, which is 3/2, comma, minus 1/2. You want to make sure you take your time. And again, there's only one of these. Question 12 is the only one you're going to have to work these out with the fractions. So now once you've gotten to here, now we're going to use point slope, and that's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. x1, y1. And we fill it all in. So that's y minus a minus 1/2 equals minus 1 over 23 times x minus 3/2. So double negative makes this then positive here. This will get distributed through. And again, if you struggle with the fractions, we can do the fractions over to the side. So let's see what we've got here. Double negative makes it a positive 1/2. when we distribute through, we end up with a minus 1 over 23x, and then negative and negative. What do we have here? Well, negative 1 over 23, right, times negative 3 over 2. Nothing is going to cancel. We multiply across the top, across the bottom. So negative and negative makes it a positive 3 on the top, and 23 times 2, that should be a 46. So that's going to be plus 3 over 46 there. Okay, so we've got it almost all done. The fractions will clear out nicely like this one does. What's our largest number? 46. 46 is going to go into that 2. 46 will go into that 23. So we're going to multiply now everything by that 46. And eventually get this in standard form. So let's go ahead and multiply that 46 through. So that's going to be 46y plus half of 46 is a 23. 23 and 46, they cancel. That leaves you with a 2. Okay, and 2 times a negative 1 makes it a negative 2x, right? Because 46 divided by 23 is 2. So we can see, yep. 46 divided by that 23, right? That gives you that 2. 2 times that negative 1 makes it a minus 2x. The 46's here directly cancel, and that leaves you with a 3. We want this in standard form, so one step left. Move that 2x over with addition. And the 23 goes over with subtraction. Now we've got 2x plus 46y equals a negative 20. One thing that we have to be careful of with these fractions, when it was a fraction originally and we get it in standard form, we need to make sure we can't reduce it down. We need to look at our numbers and make sure we can't divide something out. We've got a 2, a 46, and a 20. Well, these numbers all have what in common? These numbers all have a 2 in common. So to finish it out and to get it in standard form, if you've got fractions at the beginning, make sure you can't reduce it down. At the end, this one you can, because everything's got a 2 in it. So I'm going to divide everything by a 2. All the others will never happen because we didn't have to clear fractions twice the same way. So if it's got fractions, you're going to have to probably reduce it at the end. And that gives you then x plus 23y equals a negative 10. And that is your final answer in standard form. And again, there's only one of these like this. Now let's look at some special cases here. And let's on these find the equation again in standard form. And let's say you're given this. Let's say you're given the point 3, negative 9 parallel to y equals 7. So this one's going to be a special case. it's a special case because we really can't use our flowcharts. And just like we had those special cases with the absolute value, well, this is another special case here. And the special cases with the absolute value were very easy. Same thing here. Now, what do we know about parallel lines? Okay, what does parallel mean? Parallel means the slopes are the same, right? So when we talk about y equals 7, that's a horizontal line. What type of line is parallel to a horizontal line? Okay, another horizontal line. They never cross. That's the definition. So, y equals 7. We want it to be parallel. That means it's the same. So it's going to be a y line. So since it's parallel, we're going to have a y line. So the answer is a y line because it's parallel. Now we look at the y component of our ordered pair. What's the y component of our ordered pair? 9. So my answer would then be for this equation, y equals that negative 9. That's going to be your answer. That's it. X is parallel to x, y is parallel to y, and x and y are perpendicular. Let me just write that down too, just so you have that. So x is parallel to x, y is parallel to y, and x and y are perpendicular. So let's do a couple more of these just to illustrate this concept. So let's do another one, and we're going to have these in standard form again. And let's say you're given the point -8, -3, and we want it to be perpendicular to x equals 15. So this is what we have. We have a point, and we want it to be perpendicular. Now, if it is perpendicular, that's the opposite, right? Opposite or negative reciprocal. So when we talk about perpendicular, we're thinking of it in terms of an opposite. So what's the opposite of an x line? Opposite of an x line would be a y line. So what would my answer be? It would be y equals, and what's the y component of my ordered pair? Y component is -3. So this would simply come out to be y equals a -3. That's it. There's only a couple of questions like this in your homework. I know one of them is question 9. But there's another one in here too, I believe. But they're very simple. I want you to understand that x is parallel to x, y is parallel to y, and x and y are perpendicular. So one more of these. And let's say we're given another point. Let's say you're given the point 10, -2, and we want it to be parallel to, oh, we've used y enough. How about x equals 20? Doesn't matter what it is. We want to be parallel to x equals 20. Doesn't matter what that x line is, because all we're going to be concerned about when we write up our equation is the fact that this is parallel. And what does parallel mean? Parallel means the same. So we've got an x, so the same as an x would be another x. And then what's the x component of our ordered pair? Remember, the x component goes first, so that's your 10. So what would this now be? This would simply be x equals what? X equals now 10. we've got a little bit of time left. I want to do at least one more question. And then that'll be it. Maybe one, maybe two if we have time, but at least one more. I want to do one more of these where you're given a point and a line equation, because those are the ones that students tend to struggle with the most. So let's try one more of these. Let's find the equation in standard form. And let's see, you're given this point minus 5, 3. And I want it to be perpendicular to (5x plus 4y equals 12). I picked this one because it's going to make you work with the fractions, flip things over, switch the signs around. So, what do we do first? Well, first off, what do we have? Point and a line equation. So that means we use the last page of our flowchart. So find the equation of a line when you're given a point and a line equation. So what's my first step? It says take that line equation and solve it for y. And then find your slope with that m there. So let's go ahead and solve this for y. So 5x plus 4y equals 12. And I'm going to try and take my time with this one. So just to make sure we don't lose anybody, I'm really going to try to take my time. So we take our equation, we solve it for y. So that means we move that 5x over. And now we have 4y equals a minus 5x plus 12. We divide by our 4, and we reduce if we can. And that gives me now, when I reduce, y equals minus 5/4 x. And 12 divided by 4 is a 3. And that means the slope is minus 5/4. Okay, now, we are not done yet. We cannot use that slope that we have. Why can we not use that slope that we currently have? It has to be perpendicular, right? So that's our slope. Now, what do we want? We want that negative reciprocal slope. Okay, so we want the perpendicular part. So we have a minus 5/4. What would the perpendicular part be? Opposite or negative reciprocal. So we take that 5/4, so we flip it over, and that's 4/5. We take that negative and we make it what? Positive. So that means our slope m that we're going to be using is 4/5. So make sure you label things and we don't get them confused. So we want that 4/5 there. That is our slope. So I'm going to go ahead and label that one as m. Next, what does it say to do? Okay, we went down the perpendicular side, and all roads lead back to point slope. So we were here. We used the negative reciprocal or opposite reciprocal. We are here. Point slope. So now we use the point slope formula. And we're going to use that with that original point, minus 5/3, and our new slope, which we found to be 4/5. what happens a lot of times is when I grade papers and look at exams, students get confused and they stop at the wrong place. We are not done when we get this slope. We have to get that equation. So don't just stop here. Follow that flow chart down and use that point slope form. And then eventually get our answer in standard form. So we're only about halfway done. We've got x1 and y1 here. Write up your formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus your x1. Fill it in. So that's y minus 3 equals 4/5 times x, and watch the double negative, minus a minus 5 then. We know the double negative makes it positive, and we'll go ahead and distribute through. And so now we have y minus 3 equals 4/5 x. If you struggle again with the fractions, write them over to the side. So we've got 4/5 times that 5 over 1. Now, what can we do with the 5s? When we multiply, cancel. So that means this piece comes out to just simply be 4. Okay, so now we want it in standard form. Can we have fractions in standard form? Nope. So clear them out. Multiply everything by what? Someone tell me?
5.
Yep, 5. Okay. So distribute that 5 through. And this will be the last one that we're going to look at. And so distribute that 5 through. And that's 5y minus 15 equals 4x. And 5 times 4 is 20. We want to get this in standard form. So move that 4x over and add your 15. Now, when we move it over, that's going to make that x negative. And that's another commonly made mistake. The students will get it in what they think is standard form, but it's not, because that x part is negative. So when we move that 4x over, see, that gives you a minus 4x plus 5y, and that equals 45. But that is not in standard form. And why is it not in standard form? Because of the negative 4. So how do we fix it? Put a negative out in front and distribute through. That then leaves you with 4x minus 5y equals a minus 45. And that is your final finished answer. And that is now in standard form. What's our homework? Okay, our homework is 2.3. You should be able to now do them all. If you haven't turned in your homework, make sure that I get that. If you turned it in last week, I have it all graded, and I'll pass it back to you.